Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to the ongoing extended contact program of PGDHE. In the previous session, there were discussions on objectives, method, and media. In this session, we shall take up the topic program evaluation, which in common parlance is also referred to as curriculum evaluation. But before we start with the discussions, I would like to introduce you with Professor M.L. Kaul. He is the Director, School of Education, IGNOU. And another thing at the very outset that we would like to tell you is that this session should not be restricted to a one-sided lecture and presentation. Since we have all the facilities for interaction, you are welcome to present your views, your queries that are related to this particular topic that shall be taken up in this session. So friends, with this, let us start. Now, before we start with curriculum evaluation or program evaluation, whichever way we term it, let us recapitulate what is meant by curriculum, the concept of curriculum. So, you may be aware of it, but nevertheless, for understanding what is curriculum evaluation, it is necessary to recapitulate a little about curriculum and evaluation, these two terms. So, first of all, curriculum. What is curriculum? Now, you may be knowing that it is the sum total of experiences, academic as well as non-academic, that are deliberately planned and designed. So, it is not that all of a sudden a curriculum comes into existence, but there is a lot of planning and designing of the curriculum. So, and about this you have heard in the last session also. I think we have a call. Shall we take it, sir? Yes? You may come up with your question, please.
हेलो
हेलो
हाँ मैडम जी नमस्ते।
नमस्ते,
मैडम जी एक छोटा क्वेश्चन था मेरा।
बोलिए।
जैसे कि आप प्रोग्राम एवोल्यूशन की बात कर रहे हैं, इससे पहले का जो प्रोग्राम था वो कोर्स डिजाइन के ऊपर था। तो कोर्स डिजाइन जब करते हैं, जैसे कि यूजीसी करती है या कोई यूनिवर्सिटी सिलेबस कमेटी करती है, तो उस सिलेबस का निर्धारण करते समय विद्यार्थियों स्टूडेंट से फीडबैक का प्रावधान नहीं है अपने इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम में, तो क्या उसको लागू किया जा रहा है? इसी तरह से जैसे यूनिवर्सिटी कैडर में या कॉलेज कैडर में ठीक है।
Now, in reply to this question, I would like to say that I'll give a very brief reply, and after that I'll continue with the presentation, that students are one of the very important stakeholders of any program or any curriculum. So feedback from the student, not only who have enrolled, who have passed out, but also the dropout sample, that is very important. And I would also like to say that at IGNOU we do take feedback from the students. So let me continue with the presentation now. So as I was saying, that this is something deliberately planned and designed. And not only that, a curriculum is always goal oriented. There are certain predetermined goals that are to be achieved, certain specific objectives are there which are to be achieved through the implementation of the curriculum. And another thing I would like to say is that it is the formulation and implementation of an educational proposal for which the educational institution which is implementing it, which is following the curriculum, has to shoulder responsibility, has to accept responsibility at three particular levels. Now, what are these levels? First of all, the rationale, that why this particular curriculum has been adopted. Then the implementation, that is how well the curriculum that has been adopted is being implemented. And finally, the after effect, that is what is the result of adopting this particular curriculum. So we see that now we have some idea about curriculum. And now coming to the next part of this terminology, that is evaluation. Now this is also a term which is quite familiar to us, evaluation, and we use it in our daily life also. Now what does this term mean? We say that evaluation means making a judgment about the value or worth of a certain thing. It could be a thing, it could be a process, it could be a product. Now this is something that involves a systematic process of data collection, data analysis, then inferring certain things out of the data analysis, and then finally reaching the conclusions. Now this is an event that is meant for posterity. Before the thing that is to be evaluated has been conceived, evaluation is not possible. Either the process of producing it should start, or when the product is ready, then only we can have evaluation. So we see that if we combine these two terms, curriculum and evaluation, we find that the new term emerges, which is called program evaluation or curriculum evaluation. So we could sum it up by saying that it is a systematic activity that determines how far the curriculum has been successful in fulfilling the predetermined objectives, the goals. As I said earlier, that while framing a curriculum, it is necessary to keep in sight certain goals. So how far this particular curriculum has been fulfilling these particular goals, that is assessed. And not only that, while the curriculum is being implemented, then evaluation of the curriculum can be carried out. Also, after it has been implemented, then also at that stage also, evaluation can be carried out, and it is basically to apprise the appropriateness and effectiveness of the curriculum. Now, sir, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, please. Good afternoon, all of you. I think that you must have gone through the course material, and by now you must have learned that what do we mean by program evaluation or curriculum evaluation or assessment or some other terminology that has been used in the course material. I am sure that you, being at the higher education level, must be very conscious about the program evaluation. We all agree without dispute that program evaluation is very, very important, and it is gaining more and more importance day by day because we are confronting the quality of education. And quality of education cannot be maintained unless we do have a comprehensive program evaluation. When we talk about program evaluation, some people take it in a very, very brief and concise meaning. They say that we have to go through the material and see that whether it is relevant or whether it is irrelevant. But here I would like to say that when we talk about the program evaluation, we mean program as a whole, which involves the course material, which involves the environment of that institution, which involves the resource person, the teachers, the designers, the course writers. All these are being evaluated, that who has done what kind of work and what type of work. Once we go through all these, this leads us towards the betterment or towards the improvement of a particular program. We design a program keeping in mind certain aspects or certain objectives, then we go ahead. But at the time of designing of a program, we really do not know that how far it will be effective when it goes to the learners, when the learners do take up a particular program. It is only after they go through the program and we just watch this program or monitor the program over a period of time, then we think that we have to go for program evaluation. Simple meaning is that whether there has been individual growth, whether there has been institutional growth, whether the program has been effective, whether it has fulfilled the objectives or not, whether it is serving the purpose, all these things and the quality, relevance, these things are taken care of once we go for program evaluation. Therefore, this is really a very, very important aspect that all the teachers in general and then others in particular who are the experts sitting at different levels need to look into it, and they need to see that how this program evaluation is being carried out. Dr. Suttappa, who is making a presentation, must have taken care of all these aspects, and you will see through the presentation that what are the important aspects, and I will also be going through certain points that I will like to highlight from time to time. With these words, I would like Dr. Suttappa to continue with the presentation, please.
Well, just now Professor Kaul has given in a nutshell what we mean by program evaluation, and I'll just go into the details of the points that he has mentioned. So let us come back to the presentation and start with the types of evaluation. Now you see that when we carry out program evaluation, it could be of two major types. First of all, it could be carried out at the micro level. Now what does this mean, micro level evaluation? This means that just a minor changes here and there, whichever are relevant and necessary, are carried out, but otherwise, let us take the call first. Yes, please.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, please speak.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Your question, please.
Hello. Are you hearing?
Yes, we can hear
Hello.
you. Come up with your question.
Hello.
We are hearing you.
हाँ मैडम जी नमस्ते.
Namaste.
मैडम जी आइए मैं स्टूडेंट ऑफ PGDHE from IGNOU.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
आपके मैडम जी ये समस्या ये है कि प्रोग्राम गाइड नहीं पहुंची मेरे पास स्टडी मटेरियल के साथ.
Okay, regarding this particular,
Oh.
yes, we have heard your problem. We are aware of your problem now. That, but we shall pass it on to the program coordinator, and you may write to the program coordinator, Mrs. Poonam Bhushan at School of Education, IGNOU, Maidan Garhi, New Delhi, 68. So, with that, let us continue with the presentation. Evaluation types. So, as I was saying that micro-level evaluation, in this type of evaluation, only a few changes are made without disturbing the entire program, maybe a few changes in all the courses or in just one of the courses. So, this is called micro-level evaluation. And apart from it, we also have macro-level evaluation, which involves certain major changes, whereby even the program structure or the course structure could be changed, or the content could be changed, or both. So, we see that these are the two major types, and another way of classifying it is as formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Now, we see when the curriculum is being implemented or when it is still in the process of development, when the development of the curriculum is on, even then pilot tests, then field trials could be carried out in order to estimate, in order to make out how far this curriculum is going to be effective. So, this is called formative evaluation, that is during the formation, during the stage of development itself, this particular evaluation is carried out. And this is also known as process evaluation. And apart from it, we have summative evaluation, that is after the curriculum has been developed. After that, evaluation could be carried out to see, to determine how far the curriculum is effective. Now, when I say that how far it is effective, this particular word effective here refers to the predetermined goals and objectives about which we were talking, and how far the curriculum is successful in fulfilling the predetermined goals and objectives. So, now we know about the evaluation types. Now, coming to the purpose has already been detailed out by Professor M.L. Kaul, but nevertheless, I would like to explain a few points here. First of all, to remove obsolete concepts. Now, we see that with the ongoing rapid pace of knowledge explosion, new knowledge is coming in and there are certain concepts which get obsolete. So, our curriculum has to get rid of the things, the concepts that are now obsolete. So, first of all, obsolete concepts are removed, and then updating the curriculum. These two are not exactly synonymous, because updating means whatever new data, new information comes in, that has to be incorporated in the curriculum. And then to determine the effectiveness of the programs in fulfilling goals at two levels. First of all, the societal goals, the goals of the society for which the curriculum had been developed. And then also the individual goals, that is the individual needs and interests, whether the curriculum is actually fulfilling them or not. Now, when I speak of updating the curriculum, I could give you a very simple example here. For instance, now we know that the solar system, Pluto is no longer considered to be a planet. So, we see that if the textbooks still carry on with this particular information, then the curriculum would not be an effective one. Now, coming to the overall validation of the program. This means checking out from time to time how valid or how authentic the content that is being provided is. And apart from that, the strengths and weaknesses of the curriculum, the feasibility. For instance, we might be imparting certain learning experiences, or learning experiences could be included in the curriculum for which appropriate resources are not there. So, we see how far the curriculum is operationally feasible, that has also to be checked. Feasibility could be in terms of human resources, that is how far the teachers or any other person involved is competent to operationalize the curriculum, and also in terms of material resources. For instance, we may say that it is necessary to provide computer education at this particular grade in all the schools. Now, whether all the schools do have teachers with the skills to teach computers, to teach how to operate computers, and also whether they have that sort of infrastructure is to be checked before the curriculum is prepared. So these things are also checked. And then propriety. Apart from feasibility, the propriety is also very important, and it is necessary to see from time to time that it does not hurt the sentiments of any particular religious group or any section of the society, or it does not violate the legal provisions of the nation. So we see these are some of the broad or major objectives of carrying out program evaluation. Here at this point I would like to request Professor Kaul to add something to it.
Yeah, you just see I will try to remove some of the terminologies that has been used. So the learner should not be confused with some of the facts. Like we are talking about formative evaluation, then we are talking about summative evaluation. When learner is learning all through the program, then these terminologies do come up there also. They are preparing for formative evaluation is done. Then we do have continuous evaluation in between through assignments and other practical components. And finally, the term and examination is known as the summative evaluation, where the final evaluation does take place. And once we apply these terminologies to program evaluation, if you look at IGNOU, somebody was just now saying that feedback. This is a very, very important tool with us. We do believe in feedback, and on the basis of feedback, what Dr. Sutapa has said, that we make short-term changes. We remove obsolete things in between. We don't wait for program evaluation for these things. Whenever we receive a feedback that something has gone wrong with the program, or there is some problem with the content or with the designing of the program, we immediately take the remedial measures and we try to correct that. We try to put all the facts online and in order. Therefore, that thing is going on. I will call it, instead of micro and macro is very important, but I say short-term evaluation and long-term evaluation. We do carry out short-term evaluations in between, which will involve the feedback and other interactions with those who are connected with the program in one way or the other way. That is the learners, that is the academic counselors, that is the coordinators, that is the other people who are experts, course designers. All these people become a part of program evaluation. We do have a system in IGNOU again, what we call tryout. When she was talking about formative evaluation, that we have the formative evaluation of a program at the earlier stage. There we have for some programs done an exercise which was known as tryout. When we developed and designed the program, we wrote the material, then we went to the clientele who was supposed to take up that program, and then we tried out this material with those learners, with that group of people. We simply wanted to see that whether the program has come up to their satisfaction, whether it is according to their standards, qualifications or level, and then on the basis of that feedback, we have again gone back and sat on the program and made certain changes wherever required or wherever necessary. So in IGNOU, this program evaluation is an ongoing process, and this whole exercise is done simply to improve the quality of the course and program, to improve the quality of the material, and finally to improve the quality of education. This is very important, and I here suggest that even all other organizations who are not doing it must also take up this exercise, and then with this exercise they must improve the programs and they must make necessary change. As she has rightly said, that in the modern times the changes do take place so quickly that we don't have time to wait. Today's information becomes obsolete only by tomorrow. So if we wait for time, then we are passing on a wrong information to the people, or there need to be change in the topics, titles, themes, or the evaluation system or other systems that are in place. So these things ought to be looked into if we want the latest program and if we want a good program to be offered. So these things, according to me, are very important. Program evaluation, when we talk about, this is the aim of improving the program. This is the aim of doing good with the program and carrying out evaluation in certain areas, not only in one, that is the content. But at the same time, this program evaluation is very important once we have to decide about the program, that whether the program is to continue or program can be withdrawn. There are certain courses that become obsolete and we withdraw the course, introduce a new course. That is the need of the day. And similarly, there are some programs that are redesigned or given a different name and the old programs are taken back. So this is also possible only when we take the exercise of program evaluation. When we look into the broad areas of program evaluation, you will come to know so many things about it, that how important it is and how the present time makes it more and more important to go for this kind of evaluation. But one thing I would like to tell you here, that we have to take a caution, because if some evaluation is not done properly, if some evaluation is not done honestly, that can do a damage also to the program. We have to be careful. We have to have expertise in program evaluation. We have to have full knowledge about the program evaluation. Only then we must handle this program evaluation. There is otherwise a danger sometimes that if a wrong program evaluation is done, wrong impression is created, and that can do damage or harm to the program instead of improving the quality of the program. I would just like Dr. Stapa to please continue further.
Thank you, sir. Now, as students of PGDHE, many of you may be teaching at the tertiary level, and many of you might be in the near future could be joining the tertiary level of education. And as teachers, you would definitely be the stakeholders, as one of the stakeholders of a program or of a particular curriculum that is being followed. So you may also be involved someday in carrying out program evaluation. Now, before you actually start with the process of program evaluation, you could frame certain questions. Now, these questions would guide the process that you carry out for evaluating your curriculum. So these questions could be whether the goals and objectives of the program are being achieved, then, as I have just said, whether the needs of the society are fulfilled, then whether the learners as individuals are actually being benefited. This benefit could be in terms of their employment, future employment, or future scope for higher education, or any other professional development opportunities. So these are some of the questions. And then whether the implementation of the program is satisfactory. The report of program evaluation should also tell you about this. And then whether this particular program is aligned with the other programs of the college or of the university. And how cost effective is it? Whether the costs that have been incurred in developing the program has been met, and if there is any benefit, I mean financial benefit from running this program. So this also has to be assessed. And finally, whether the program is feasible, whether it is operationally feasible, just as I have discussed. So if you frame certain questions like this, it could guide the process of evaluation. Now, here diagrammatically, I would like to represent it. First of all, the slide please. We see that in the very first point, we have the perspectives of evaluation. Now, we shall talk about the perspectives a little later on, but I would like to tell you that the objectives of the program, the learning experiences, and the stakeholders from whom we collect data, they could all form together the perspectives. And then the outcomes. By outcomes here, I would like to say the information that finally comes out as a result of data collection. Then planning the entire process and implementing the process, and finally reporting whatever the results of program evaluation emerge. Now coming to the perspectives first. What to evaluate? While evaluating a particular curriculum or program, you might be thinking that what is there to evaluate? Now we could start with the inputs first. Now the inputs could be the objectives and also the content or the learning experiences that have been planned in order to fulfill those very objectives. These learning experiences are not only the theoretical portions included within the textbooks, but also the other supplementary reading material and the practical experiences, the skill development programs, the workshops and many other things there that are included within that particular program. So the inputs that have been provided to the learners or that are usually provided to the learners, these are very important parts of the perspective. So as I was telling, that learning experiences form a part of the inputs, and then the teachers' competence, the attitude of the teachers, because they are finally the ones who at the ground level would be implementing the curriculum. So how far they are competent. For instance, let us take the example of an IT course, whether the infrastructure is there, whether the teachers themselves are skilled enough, whether they have got a positive attitude towards using IT in the classroom or integrating it in the teaching learning process. These things also matter, and these things also need to be assessed. Then the resources. For an IT course at least, or for any other such, for any program for instance that needs some laboratory work, resources that would be necessary for the students and for the implementation of the curriculum, that these resources also have to be assessed, whether the resources are actually there, how far they are functional, their adequacy and suitability and things like that. Then the process, the method and media, about which there have been discussions in the previous session, that is how the curriculum is being implemented, what are the teaching methods, what are the media that are being selected, how well the media is being integrated. So these are certain things. And finally the outputs. The outputs would be how the students are faring, what benefits are they accruing, not only in the summative tests but also as far as their future employment is concerned, their future or further educational opportunities are concerned. So we see that within the perspectives of evaluation, we start right from the objectives, we come down to the courses, and then nowadays not only at IGNOU but in many other institutions, multimedia system of imparting education is there. So not only the study material in print but also the audio video components that are being used, they also form a part of the inputs and they have also to be assessed. Then the radio counseling programs, the TV programs and the face-to-face programs, for instance the workshops, or in some programs there are contact programs, all these inputs, they also have to be assessed. It is not that we just take up some textbooks and evaluate. When we evaluate the curriculum, all the inputs that go into it, they need to be evaluated. But before we start with the expected outcomes, I would request Professor Kaul to give his views on it.
Yeah, Dr. Sutapa, you have rightly touched upon, and I think that the learners who are just watching this program and listening to you, they will get from your presentation that this program evaluation is not as simple as some people might think about it. It is not just simply to go through the content and through the textbooks and then make some improvement in those areas. You have touched upon very, very important issues in your presentation which all the people must take into consideration. For example, you have touched upon the society. So one can see that how broad this concept of program evaluation is. Once we go for this kind of evaluation, we have to touch the society as well and see that what are the requirements by the society, what are the needs of the society, is the program ultimately serving the purpose on the society is faced with or confronted or desires to have in place. And then you have touched upon the teacher's competence. This is again very, very important area. Sometimes it is here where I was saying that program evaluation should be done by very, very experienced people who know that what program evaluation exactly is and how it is to be carried out. Because here sometimes the persons who go for program evaluation just make a criticism of the program and say that this is a bad program, this need not to be there, or it should be replaced by A, B, C, D factors, which factors are not perhaps relevant. So here I would like to say that the program evaluation is done looking into the competence of the teachers also. Then teachers are competent, but very important idea you have put here is attitude of the teachers. We have seen in our day-to-day life that we do have some good teachers, but their attitude is not good, so therefore their competence is not utilized properly in the classroom. So we have to look definitely into all these things. What I mean to say here is that this program evaluation will serve a great purpose if it is done in a comprehensive manner, if it is done really keeping in view all these factors that are important for the improvement of a program. We say that criticism without relationship or context is again damaging for the program. If the program evaluators make a criticism of a program and then they don't give the relationship or that criticism, then they don't give the causes and reasons for that criticism, it is not going to serve any purpose. Therefore here, while program evaluation, we have to take care of these factors also, that how we can make a relationship of our criticism, we can make a relationship of our points that have been raised, and so that a proper care is being taken when we go for that. Ultimately, this evaluation, this is tied to the growth. This is tied to the growth potential. We have to see that this program evaluation must help the organization to grow, must help the organization to help all those who want to go for a particular program. And so that purpose should be served by program evaluation. Once this is done, I would suggest here for all those ones they are looking at this program evaluation, they must take into consideration that this program evaluation is done for a program which is being run by a particular organization. When we look at a program in IGNOU, we definitely take into consideration our technological assistance or technological potential as well, because we deal with that. So we suggest the program improvement or program evaluation accordingly. But if we go to a conventional university, perhaps these things may not appear there. Some other mechanism will be in place. Therefore, these all things we take into account once we go for program evaluation. This is related to ultimately the resources, what already has been talked about by Dr. Sutapa in her presentation. We have to look into the resources also. Under what kind of resources we have designed a program, what kind of resources are available for the organization to develop that program, and according to those resources we have to make the improvement. Sometimes this is my personal experience where I have seen that suggestions are made that are not possible. They are good suggestions, they are valid suggestions. When theoretically we look at the suggestions, they are really very important, but not practical, because the organizations or the universities cannot implement them as it is, because the circumstances or the resources or some other factors are not favorable to those suggestions. Therefore, the suggestions made, the criticism made, the evaluation made has to be in accordance with that particular organization. Here I mean to say that the program evaluators, once we go for program evaluation, we have to study that particular organization as well, and then we can evaluate a program in a very, very better way, and we can have a meaningful program evaluation if we keep these things in mind. Yeah, please.
So far we have been discussing about what to evaluate. Now the second question could be how to evaluate. So here I would like to touch upon the planning aspect. When you go for evaluating a program, you already now know what are the things that are to be evaluated, but to how to go about it. Now let me tell you that the method that is usually adopted, that is generally adopted, of course there is no hard and fast rule about it, that is similar to the qualitative method of carrying out research. So here we carry out mainly survey, since the student population is usually in hundreds and maybe even in thousands. Therefore a survey is usually carried out, and document analysis is another important thing. Now coming to the data collection part, we shall touch upon the document analysis a little later. So when we carry out the survey, what are the methods of collecting data? What are the tools to be used? Now, as I have said at the very beginning while describing what evaluation is, I had said that it is a systematic process of data collection so as to arrive at certain conclusions. And this was also what I had said for program evaluation. So we say that this being a very systematic process, a scientific method has to be adopted. It is not that just haphazardly the inputs are studied and a report is prepared. So we say that first of all the tools have to be selected judiciously, and these tools which may be prepared even by those carrying out the evaluation process, the tools then have to be validated by experts who may be your colleagues or other experts from the field. Now we say that questionnaires are very common, and in distance education mode it is often a practice, not always but sometimes we include a feedback questionnaire at the end of the blocks also. Otherwise also a questionnaire could be prepared and then they could be circulated, distributed among the teachers, the academic counselors, the students, the experts, and this particular portion replies or answers the call that we had received, whether students are the stakeholders. Yes, the students are very much the stakeholders and their views have to be taken into consideration. So we see that questionnaire is one of the tools, and then coming to interview. And when we select interview as the tool, it is better to have open-ended questions. Instead of structuring the interview schedule, it is better to prepare a schedule but with open-ended question. Why? So as to elicit in-depth information and detailed information about the positive points, the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. That is the SWOT model as we call it. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Threats could be construed as the challenges or the hard spots of the curriculum. And then coming to observation schedules, what to observe. For instance, the laboratory experiences, the skill development process, the academic counseling, and so the actual teaching in the classroom. So many things are there which could be, about which data collection could be through observation schedules. And then checklist, whether these particular resources are available or not, or whether the teachers have the necessary competencies. So for these things you may prepare a checklist. And of course informal discussions are very important, and workshops with experts wherein brainstorming sessions with experts who study the inputs and then they give their own views as to the suitability. So we say that this sort of planning is very necessary. And then coming to the actual data collection plan. Now that we have selected the tools for data collection, when to collect data, at which stage to collect data. As I have already mentioned at the very beginning that evaluation could be formative or it could be summative. So we say that it is necessary to collect data when the curriculum is being implemented and also after the term and examinations, that is after it has been implemented, summative. So we see following admission, or even before that we could start with the expectations of the learners. So this is called the entry level. And after that, while the course is being undertaken, while the program is being implemented, then before and after the examinations, following completion of the program. Why is this so important? So as to know about their placement, about what educational opportunities they have attained following the educational program that has been imparted to them. And also another very important factor is the dropout sample. It is necessary to collect data from them. Why? So as to know why they have dropped out. What are the weaknesses in the programs that led to their dropping out. So these are some of the things. And again the sample is very important. The bigger the sample is, the better it is, because if we have a very small sample, it would be difficult to generalize. And here I would like to say that stratified random sampling could be adopted, so that a sample is selected from say different zones or from different areas, and from within that subsamples are selected finally to have a real sample, the actual sample. So this is stratified random sampling, or any other sampling technique could also be adopted. Here also I would not say that there is any such rigidity as to it. Now coming to the data collection plan again. So we see that the questionnaire is designed, and here you could be taking inputs regarding the language that has been used in the study materials or in the textbooks, the level, the difficulty level, the illustrations that have been used, their adequacy, how far they are relevant, then the activities, and not only that, even the font size, the paper quality and the print quality, these things could also be assessed. Then again the interviews with open-ended questions, and observation schedules, as I have been telling you, and informal discussions are very, very important as data collection tools, because while we carry out informal discussions, the inhibitions of the stakeholders to whom we go for data collection, that is not there. So a rapport is easily built and the data that is collected is more detailed. And as I was saying, the workshops. Now before I again continue with this data collection plan, I would request Professor Kaul for his inputs.
Yeah, Dr. Sutapa, you have nicely explained almost all the concepts that are very essential as far as program evaluation is concerned. I will just only add a few things to it. It may not be add, but some elaborate explanations to certain terms based on this various factors. When she comes about planning, and I would just like, she has very nicely said that what kind of research could take place, whether it is we should go for questionnaires, we should go for observation tools, we should go for some interview techniques and other things. I would here like to say that it is very important that carefully we design these questionnaires which are relevant for that particular program, because we are here evaluating a program. We are not conducting a research study in the field. So these questions must be related to that particular program, carefully designed that questionnaire, which I will call will be close to validation of that. Similarly, interview schedules or observation schedules, when these are prepared, that time we have to take into consideration the program, the organization and other things, so that this gives us a very, very valid data on the basis of what we think about the program evaluation, whether we change it, whether we improve it, whether we make partly change, and whatever decisions are taken place. I would like just to add one point here only, that this program evaluation makes decision making simple. This makes decision making easy. Otherwise, decision making is a difficult task. For example, if we say that assignments do not serve any purpose, it is very difficult for the for decision makers that whether they should remove the assignments or they should take, unless we do have some concrete data available that the assignments have not helped the learners in any way. Therefore, we have to go for that, which will make a judicious decision making, and that will help the program to grow. That will help the program to go. Organizations, all types of organizations, do get some feedback directly or indirectly. I think directly it is the feedback once we go at the end of the program, that what is the pass percentage? How many do pass a program, go through a what is the percentage of marks obtained by the students? What is the dropout rate? What Dr. Sutapa has already mentioned. So these are also indicators about the program, and the organization can take into account these factors as well, so that on the basis of this one can think that if pass percentage is very low, if the marks obtained by the students are very low, if the rate of dropouts is quite high, the organization needs to look into that particular program and see that where are the deficiencies, where are the problems that need to be removed. I just go back to Dr. Sutapa for winding up the program.
Well, I would like to wrap up the program by just saying that the data collected has then to be analyzed, and finally a report is produced to complete the program evaluation. Now, I would like to sum it up by saying that following the development of the curriculum, that is designing, it is implemented, and then feedback is collected to know about the strengths and weaknesses, and this is how curriculum evaluation is carried out. Thank you.
I will request all the people that if they have any problem, doubts or queries, they may just flash them to School of Education IGNOU, and we will respond to them individually according to the queries or doubts they do have. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Good day friends, now I will discuss about the configuration of a rigid body, which is a part of a kinematics discussion. When you talk about configuration,